The Golden Throne is the most sacred object in the Imperium. A life support machine, a psychic beacon, a prison, a throne. It keeps the Emperor alive. It holds back the warp. It allows humanity to exist at all. Now imagine the Imperium loses control of it. Not to chaos, not to rebellion, but to a Necron Dynasty. And humanity survives. But only physically. It begins with a catastrophe beneath Terra. Not an invasion. Not an uprising. A failure. Ancient mechanisms within the throne begin to degrade beyond Imperial ability to repair. The Adeptus Mechanicus exhaust every forbidden archive, every STC fragment, every scrap of pre-Imperial data. Nothing works. The Emperor's psychic output begins to fluctuate. Astronomical strength drops by fractions of a percent. But even a fraction is enough. Thousands of ships are lost in the warp. Entire sectors fall into isolation. The Imperium faces extinction by technical malfunction. A desperate solution emerges from heretical data. Necron technology. Not scavenged battlefield fragments. Not reverse-engineered weapons. True functioning Necron control systems. Impossible. Except a silent Necron dynasty makes contact. Not with threats. Not with demands. With an offer. They can stabilize the Golden Throne. They can replace its decaying systems with living metal. Equivalence. They can maintain the Emperor's biological shell indefinitely. In exchange, they gain operational oversight of the throne. Not ownership. Not worship. Control. The High Lords of Terra descend into civil war. Half call it treason. Half call it survival. The Custodes oppose it absolutely. The Mechanicus fractures. Mars itself nearly erupts into open conflict. But the Astronomicon continues weakening. Every hour costs billions of lives. Finally, a single vote passes. Humanity chooses existence over purity. The Necrons arrive beneath the Imperial Palace. No grand march. No conquest. A surgical insertion. Phase-shifted monoliths materialize kilometers below Terra's surface. Silent. Precise. Their cryptex descend into the throne's core. They do not marvel. They do not pray. They analyze. What they discover horrifies even them. The Golden Throne is not merely a machine. It is a patchwork of technologies layered over tens of thousands of years. Human, Xenos, warp-based, partially organic, partially conceptual. It is not supposed to work, and yet it does. Barely. Necron engineers do what they do best. They strip away instability. They replace decaying systems. With necrodermis circuitry, they isolate warp interfaces. They create hard containment fields. Around the Emperor's psychic output, they convert the throne into something new. Not a throne. A regulator. A cosmic dam. The Astronomicon stabilizes. Then strengthens. Warp storms recede. Navigation improves. Casualties drop dramatically. Humanity celebrates. They believe the Emperor is healing. They are wrong. The Emperor is no longer straining against a failing device. He is now perfectly contained. Perfectly regulated. Perfectly throttled. His psychic output becomes smooth. Consistent. Limited. The wild, burning presence in the warp that once terrified demons. Dulls. Not extinguished. Muted. Like a star seen through smoked glass. The Necron Dynasty gains real-time access to throne telemetry. They can monitor the Emperor's mental state, his psychic fluctuations, his attempts to communicate. They do not understand his thoughts, but they recognize something dangerous. He is not merely surviving. He is slowly changing. Less human, more abstract, more warp entity than man. The Necrons quietly adjust containment, not to help him, but to prevent escalation. The Imperium begins to change. Not overnight. Gradually, subtly. Miracles decrease. Living saints still exist, but fewer, weaker. Visions become rare. Divine manifestations almost vanish. The Ecclesiarchy claims this is a test of faith. In truth, the Emperor's influence is being rationed. The custodes feel it first. Their psychic bond to the Emperor weakens, not severed, but distant, like hearing a voice through deep water. They report this. The reports are sealed, classified Omega Black. The Necrons introduce optimization protocols. They suggest adjustments to maximize Astronomicon. Efficiency, minor changes, harmless. They claim the High Lords approve, navigation improves further, trade stabilizes, tithes increase, military response time shorten. The Imperium becomes more efficient than it has been in 10,000 years. But something vital disappears. Hope. Not in speeches, not in propaganda, but in the warp. Human psychic resonance subtly shifts. Prayers feel emptier. Faith feels colder, less emotional, more mechanical, as if humanity is slowly losing its spiritual reflection. The Necrons understand this perfectly. Souls generate warp turbulence. Emotion generates instability. Instability threatens containment. Therefore, emotion must be reduced, not eliminated, managed. They begin advising imperial policy, not publicly, through intermediaries, cold logic, statistical governance. Population clusters deemed inefficient are quietly abandoned. Exterminatus usage increases, not out of fear, but out of optimization. Why spend resources saving worlds that mathematically cannot recover? Rebellion patterns change. Instead of chaos uprisings, there are silent mass suicides, cults devoted to nothing, people who feel empty, disconnected, alive but hollow. The Emperor tries to speak, occasionally, a psychic pulse, a surge, each time. Necron containment dampeners engage, the signal flattens, the message becomes static. Humanity never hears it. The Necrons begin long-term modeling. They conclude, if humanity continues like this, chaos will slowly starve. Not quickly, not dramatically, but steadily. Less emotion, less belief, less psychic excess. The warp calms. The galaxy becomes quieter, more stable, more dead inside. The Necron Dynasty achieves something their species has desired since biotransference, a galaxy without gods, not through war, through infrastructure. The final horror is political. The Imperium becomes dependent. No human understands the throne anymore. Every repair requires Necron oversight. Every calibration requires Necron algorithms. They never issue commands. They never declare rulership. They simply remain indispensable. Humanity still calls itself free, still calls itself faithful, still kneels before the throne. But the object of worship has become a regulated component inside a Xenos-controlled machine. The Emperor is no longer a god, no longer a king, no longer even truly a man. He is a stabilized phenomenon. The Imperium survives. Ships travel, worlds endure, armies fight. But humanity no longer dreams of a better future. No visions, no destiny, no grand psychic narrative, only continuation. In this future, chaos slowly weakens, not because the Emperor triumphs, but because humanity is being spiritually unestetized. The warp grows quiet, the stars grow cold, and somewhere deep beneath Terra, the Emperor remains conscious, aware, imprisoned, unable to scream, because even his screams are filtered. If you enjoyed this dark Warhammer 40K, what if? Scenario, subscribe for more cosmic horror, political grimdark, and forbidden timelines. Comment what nightmare scenario you want next. Some victories cost the soul.